Great new day to all my self-care family and friends. Welcome back to the Room2Breathe Podcast. I am your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so glad that you are here with us today. Now, before we dive in, remember, if you're feeling the vibe, go ahead and tap that screen, like, comment, and share this episode. Your support helps us to reach more amazing people on their healing journey. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to give us a follow, subscribe to our channel, so you never miss a moment of what's coming next. I also invite you to head over to our website at theselfcareclub.org. We've got affirmative apparel, motivational merch, and a bunch of free resources to support you wherever you are on your journey. Just know you're not alone in this. We're all in this together, supporting and uplifting each other every step of the way. Let's choose to make space for peace, for growth, and most importantly, for you. Now, if something speaks to your heart today, go ahead and drop some green hearts in the chat. Know that that is our way of saying, I'm here, I'm healing, I'm growing, and I am showing up for me. Now, let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together. I see you, she ready. Hey, Kim, how are you, love? Papa Smurf in the building. We got some new visitors in the house today, y'all. So, y'all, listen. I was listening to Jay-Z the other day, and I hit that song where Jay-Z said, allow me to reintroduce myself. What up, Niecy Phil? And I was like, listen, I could do a whole thing about the process of reintroducing yourself, right? Because as we are on this healing journey, we are not who we used to be. And I think that there's a point where we have to reintroduce ourselves into society, right? We gotta, sometimes show up and tell people, hey, I ain't who I used to be. Listen, you ain't gotta like Jay-Z, just get the message, okay, sis? Just pick up what he putting down. Because there's a process of outgrowing the old you when you start healing, right? And it's a grieving process that really, I don't feel like a lot of people talk about, right? The one where you realize you've outgrown who you had to be when you were just simply trying to survive, right? And we've learned now that healing isn't always about becoming someone new, right? We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes healing is simply about finally admitting that the version of you that everybody else loved was suffering. Right? And so those are the people that I want to speak to today. The people who are standing in the doorway between who they were and who they're becoming. Right? The woman holding on by a thread because if she lets go of the old version of herself, she's afraid that she'll have nothing left. The man who's been strong for so long that now his softness is starting to feel a little foreign. Right? Peace feels suspicious. Rest feels like guilt. And joy almost feels a little unsafe. See, this is the part of the becoming where we realize that we were never really broken. We were just evolving, right? We were becoming. Sometimes we didn't choose who we were. We simply adapted. We adjusted. We armored up, right? Over the years, we've become the peacekeeper in the family because somebody had to stop the yelling, right? You become the overachiever because praise felt safer than rejection. You've become that strong friend because you learned early that vulnerability didn't feel safe. But today, I'm here to let you know that just because it kept you alive doesn't mean it gets to define your life. Let that sink in. Just because your ability to adapt over the years kept you alive, that does not mean that it gets to define your life going forward. You don't have to be that person anymore, right? That person who never asked for help. The person who always said, I'm fine through the tears. The one who settled for being chosen last because he or she was never, felt like they were worthy enough to be put first. See, there's a grief of, shedding what no longer serves us. Outgrowing an old identity feels like grief. And in a way it is, right? Because you're grieving the version of you that poured from an empty cup just to feel needed. That said yes just to keep the peace while waging war on their insides. Confused loyalty with self-abandonment. And the hardest part is that the people around you might not understand what you're going through. Right? They'll want to keep the old version of you that has always been available. Thank you. The version of you that's always agreeable, always the go-to. Right? So they're not going to recognize what you're doing, this new you. But let me remind you, you don't owe anyone access to a version of you that had to suffer to maintain. You owe no one. And see, nobody talks about how lonely it gets when you level up emotionally, right? Because when you start to level up, you begin to feel a little misaligned, right? Every conversation feels draining. The relationships start to feel one-sided. And there's this version of you that once felt accepted that now feels exposed. Because once you notice, what you used to tolerate, now all of a sudden you're going to feel what, used to numb you. See, now you care about the quality of your peace, not just the presence of people. And if this is where you are at this time, I just want you to understand that you are not crazy. You are not ungrateful. You are simply in your awakening. You're waking up. And when your soul wakes up, your environment can start to feel like a cage. And see, and that's your cue right there. When you start to feel like your environment, what used to feel like such a big open space, when that begins to feel like a cage, it is time for you to stretch. It is time for you to spread your wings. I want you guys to take a moment, close your eyes if you're able to, and I want you to ask yourself, what version of me am I ready to lay to rest? You don't have to hate him to let go. You don't have to hate her to let go. I want you to think about, what did he or she protect me from then? I want you to focus on how you can honor him or her while no longer living through them. Again, you don't have to hate the old you to let them go. You can thank them and still move forward. See, that version of you is not a mistake. It was not a mistake. So, you have to understand that now is time for you to evolve. Now it is time for you to grow through all that you've gone through. And this is the part where we begin reintroducing the real you, right? Irritability. See, when you begin to reintroduce the real you, you understand that this version of you is not perfect, is not polished, but it is powerful. Let me be real with you. Reintroducing yourself ain't just about updating your bio or switching up your aesthetic. It's about remembering your original identity before the trauma, before the expectations, before you forgot that you were here on assignment. This moment, this reintroduction is spiritual. It is emotional, It is rebellious. Because when you say, allow me to reintroduce myself, you are really saying that I am no longer living in the roles that you gave me. I am no longer apologizing for the boundaries that I have. I am no longer hustling for worthiness. I am here, unfiltered, unfolded, unbothered. And so now that I am here, what up, Buddha? The real me is no longer shrinking. Right, Cardi? That real me is no longer dumbing herself down to be light. No longer babysitting other people's comfort at the expense of my own peace. No longer begging for crumbs when I was born to feast. Y'all, I used to water myself down so much that I forgot I was the entire ocean. Right? They wanted the quiet, agreeable, smile through the tears version of me. But God said, that ain't her no more. Oh, Helen is gone, right? So now I show up with fullness. Have an amazing day, manifesting stability. Now I show up in fullness and with softness and fire, with healed boundaries and holy boldness. Not everybody's going to clap for this version of you, right? Thank you, bro. Not everybody's going to clap for this version of you, and that is okay. See, you're not evolving for applause. You are evolving for alignment. We are shifting into a season that is less performative and more authentic. In this season, we are done performing. Right? I'm done dressing my wounds up as wisdom just to avoid being vulnerable. I am done pretending I am okay just to be palatable, just to make myself easier to digest. Lotus Flower, welcome in. Hey, Tyrone. Because authenticity is more than just a vibe. It is your ability to return to your soul. And here's some more truth that people don't tell you. The more healed you become, the more misunderstood you might feel. What up, KB? Because the real you will challenge what people were comfortable taking from you. And that doesn't mean that you're wrong. It means that you are real. It means that you are awake. It means that you are finally coming home to yourself. When you start to heal, don't be surprised if the people who were comfortable with your brokenness start acting brand new. And they're going to tell you acting brand new, right? But listen, healing is powerful, yes. It is also disruptive. Because when you start showing up in your fullness, it shakes the table. And not everybody's going to be ready to eat with you. Let's call it what it is. Some people only loved you when you were shrinking. Right, KB? Some people only felt secure around you when you were insecure. Some folks only clapped for you when you were quiet, broken, and available on demand. But when you start to reclaim your voice, when you start saying no and setting boundaries, when you start glowing for real, for yourself, not for their performance, not for their entertainment, oh, baby, they feel threatened, right? And that's where we start to learn that we are, we're not for everybody. And you have to understand that not everybody's going to celebrate your becoming. Some are going to resist it. Some are going to gaslight you. Some are just going to simply walk away from you. But don't you dare dim your light to make them comfortable. Yeah, your growth is going to close some doors. But I'm here to remind you, when those doors close, let them lock. When people start to tell you things like, oh, you've changed, you're acting different, you used to be more chill, more fun, more available, more humble. What they really trying to say is, you are no longer easy for me to manipulate. You stop letting me cross your boundaries. They're telling you that you've chosen peace over people pleasing, and now they can't control your story. So again, let's be clear. You are changing, and you should be. Nothing in life stays the same. Everything evolves. Healing requires evolution. And evolution requires release. Every version of you won't be invited to your next level. And some people were only loyal to the version of you that stayed quiet. You have to begin to understand that not everyone is going to be equipped to handle the healed you. They're so comfortable with the hurt you. And that doesn't make you mean for choosing to move on. It doesn't make you ungrateful. It doesn't mean that you're too much. It just simply means that you are finally aligned. Thank you, KB. You are walking in the light of your truth. And when you walk in the light, it exposes everything that was once hidden. And that includes people, right? People who were hiding behind their version of you. And if somebody can't handle the real, healed, fully present version of you, they were never in love with you. They were in love with your compliance. And so when that backlash starts to feel, when you start to feel all of that, let them know that you're not alone, right? Tell them I got a whole army behind me, ready to see me heal, ready to see me grow and evolve. And I know for you, especially those of you who are on the beginning of your setting boundaries and shifting from performance to peace, right? It feels lonely. You might start to second guess yourself. You might even be tempted to go back to the comfort of your old self. And look, we listen and we don't judge, right? It's okay. That is part of your evolving. Sometimes the old you feels safer because he or she is familiar. They were familiar with this environment. Even if it's exhausting. But at some point you have to realize that comfort is not the same as peace. This is the season where you begin to strengthen your roots. This is the part where you start to dig deep and say, even if I have to walk alone, I will not walk backwards. This is where you fall in love with your own company, where you truly start to love you, right? Where you rebuild your tribe based on truth, not trauma bonds. Where you start to choose solitude over spaces that silence your soul. This is where you really start to realize that it's not a punishment, it's preparation. In this season, God is making room. Spirit is shifting your circle. You are shedding dead weight to make room for divine alignment. This is a good time for you to start doing the soul work, right? Create yourself a reintroduction ritual, right? Light a candle, speak your affirmations, write down your truths. Make a list titled, I am no longer da-da-da-da, or I am now da-da-da-da. So like you could make a list of saying, I am no longer codependent. I am now rooted in divine self-worth, right? I am no longer available to others who don't pour back into me. Set your intentions. But you must remember that healing is not pretty. It's not cute, right? It's not aesthetic. It's messy, it's loud, it's sometimes ugly, but it is real. And most importantly, your healing is worth it. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are being rebuilt. And baby, that takes time. Okay? So stop comparing your process to somebody else's highlight reel. They doing it for the gram. Stop judging yourself for needing rest. Stop hiding your pain behind productivity. Let it come up. Let it move through you. Let it heal. I think for years I carried shame like it was mine to hold, like it was a badge of honor. What up, LaFlair? Until one day, you guys, I realized that healing meant I could put it down. Healing meant that I could let my guard down. And, I began this journey, seeking external validation, but learning that there was nothing that anyone could say or do that would make me feel whole. Right? I learned that, there was this shame that people didn't warn me about. And it didn't always come with like a loud confession or a messy headline, right? There's this quiet shame. It's the shame that hides behind your overachieving. Welcome back, Smurf. It's the shame that hides behind your I'm fine, or your need to fix everything and everyone but yourself. I'm talking about the shame that you feel that lingers even after the apology. The shame that whispers, you should have known better. You stayed too long. The shame that says you let them treat you like that. Or how about the shame that says you messed up your own life? You wasted too many years. Right? That's the shame I want to dismantle today. I want to tear it down. Because you were never meant to carry that shame alone. Shame will make you forget that you are already forgiven. And let's be real, shame don't need evidence to take root. It just needs a moment. Shame is waiting in the cut for that moment where you make a bad decision, where you have a toxic relationship, a failed business, a lost job, an addiction relapse, a time where you showed up for everyone else but abandoned yourself. The enemy of your healing isn't always other people. Sometimes you are the enemy, that inner critic that won't allow you to move on. Shame has got y'all out here over explaining your growth to people who never even asked how you got broken in the first place. But let me say this as your sister, as your life coach, as your fellow healer in the progress. You don't owe anyone a perfect past to be worthy of a powerful future. And you don't need to run from your past. You need to reclaim it. Every single thing that you've gone through can still be a part of your purpose. So yeah, you stayed. Yes, you silenced yourself. Yes, you did some self-sabotage. But guess what? You're still here. And that means you get to decide what happens next. The shame story goes like this. I messed up, so I must be messed up. Right? But the healing story says, I lived through it, I learned from it, and I refuse to let it define me. Which story y'all want to tell? The shame story? I failed at something, so I'm a failure for life. Or the healing story, right? The one that says, I'm still here, I'm still standing, I'm still strong. See, shame lives and thrives in secrecy. The reason why shame holds so much power is because we keep it in the dark. So we must begin to shine a light on it. Because once you put the light on it, once you speak it, once you write it and breathe through it, shame starts to lose its grip. What up, Danny? Tell your truth. Even if your voice shakes, even if you don't know how people are going to respond to you, tell your truth. Because when you speak your shame out loud, you make space for someone else to feel free too. Your vulnerability is somebody else's permission slip to start healing. And so for all of you who are listening, who have, always had to know better, to be better, to do better, right? There's this extra weight that we've been carrying over the years. Again, it's that weight of, I should have left sooner. I should have listened to my intuition. I should have trusted them or should not have trusted them, right? I'm too old to be still learning this. I want you to hear me when I say, then you were surviving. You were loving from a hurt place. You were loving from your wounds. You were choosing with the you were choosing with the wisdom that you had at the time. And that version of you, he or she deserves compassion, not condemnation. You outgrew your shame when you chose to grow at all. So you have to begin to identify beyond the trauma. You have to begin to understand that you are more than what happened to you. And that you have the ability to choose to become more in spite of it. When your entire life has been shaped by pain, survival mode, and doing what you had to do, okay? Who are you when you finally feel safe? Right? After you've survived all of the emotional whiplash of no longer being in crisis, the awkwardness of peace when all you've known is chaos, or how to embrace the stillness of life without sabotaging it, right? So many of us have built our identities around trauma, being the fixer, the strong one, the loyal one, the peacemaker, the hustler. But today, in this moment, you get to build a new name, a new legacy, a new story. Don't try to reinvent yourself in a rush. Rebuilding identity is a process. It is not a makeover. This is the moment where you tell yourself, I don't want to just survive. I don't want to just be here. I want to smile without guilt. I want to laugh from the gut. I want to wake up in the mornings excited again. And all that heaviness, this is where we're bringing in the light, right? I want us to experience, happiness authentically, unapologetically. I want us to have the joy that we have always deserved. So if you're listening to this right now, whether you are washing dishes, driving to work, crying in the dark, or just trying to hold it all together, I need you to know something. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are in the middle of a holy becoming. And I know that feels heavy sometimes because healing is heavy. You may not have it all figured out because growth is confusing. You might feel tired now, but that's simply because rebirth is exhausting. And there will still be days where it feels like you've taken 3 steps forward and 5 steps backwards. But I am here to remind you today that the fact that you are still here, still showing up, still choosing you, that is evidence of your resilience. And no matter how messy or how slow your healing has been, every single tear that you've cried, every boundary that you've set, every breath that you have taken when you wanted to scream, it all counted. It all matters. And I know it's not easy. Hey, Miss Sherry. I know that you've had to smile through pain. I know that you've had to parent others while barely taking care of yourself. I know that you've been strong for so long that you have started to forget what softness feels like. But today, I want you to understand that you are allowed to fall apart and still be powerful. You are allowed to start over at age 30, at 40, at 50, at 60. You are allowed to rest, to release, and to redefine what healing looks like for you. You are not the labels that they gave you. You are not the mistakes you made in survival mode. You are not too late to become the child of God that you know that you always have been. That woman of God, that man of God. And if nobody else tells you today, I am proud of you. Not just for what you've accomplished, but for who you are becoming. For what you've overcome. For every time you chose healing instead of hiding. For every time you chose your truth over people pleasing. For every time you chose peace, even if it meant letting go. I am here to remind you that you are not selfish. You are sacred. You are not too much. You are finally enough for your own self. You are not hard to love. You are just learning how to love you first. You are allowed to take up space. So I encourage you all today to walk tall, speak up, set the boundary, start the business, rest without guilt, and know that you don't owe anyone your peace. You don't have to earn your worthiness. It is already yours. Let the healed version of you be louder than the hurt one. Let the woman that you are becoming speak for the girl who couldn't. Fellas, let your presence be the proof that healing is real. Right? Stand up and tell the world that, you know what, Black men, Black women deserve peace and softness and joy too. Let's seal this healing with love, starting with self-love, right? Now, before we go, I want to leave you with this. You are not too much. You have never been too much. You are always enough. You've always been enough, and you will always be enough. And just like every other day, you guys, I encourage you to keep breathing. Stay positive. Know that you will always be supported here at the Self-Care Club. So don't be afraid to take up space, make a little room for you to breathe. Don't be afraid to reinvent yourself. Don't be afraid to let go of who they thought you were so you can step into who you were divinely created to be. I love each and every one of you to life. And I pray that you have an amazing day on purpose, filled with nothing but love and purpose. I encourage you all to head over to our website at theselfcareclub.org. There you can tap into our healing tools, our empowerment merch, tap into some music, create a soundtrack for your soul. There are a lot of free resources over there to help you breathe again. And remember, if you felt seen in this episode, drop some green hearts in the comments. But most importantly, share this podcast out to someone else who needs it. I thank each and every one of you for being here today. I love you all to life. And I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Thank you.